Hello and welcome to the session today. So we had been speaking about foundation courses for graduates across all the streams, be it BSc, BCom, BBA, BA, regardless which stream you belong to. There are certain skills that you need to learn, that you need to know in order to get a respectable job in private or public sector. So we had been speaking about vocabulary. Now we are speaking about second semester, where the foundation course ID is number 4, which primarily talks about communication and soft skills. I have finished Unit 2 and Unit 3, which was in terms of grammar. I did grammar first to lay the foundation for a perfect structure for your language. I'm taking a step back, going to Unit 1, which is in terms of vocabulary. So in terms of vocabulary, we learnt what vocabulary actually is. It's a word bank. How many words do you have in your word bank, in your kitty? Are you effective in terms of using synonyms, in terms of substitutes? How many words do you know? What are the usages of the word? Do you understand the context where the words can be used? So we started with a little bit of synonym, antonym test yesterday. We finished 20 questions. These were the last 2 questions which we did yesterday. I got some more questions for you to test your knowledge in terms of understanding a sentence, understanding a word and the context. So here is question number 1 for today. A person of good understanding knowledge and reasoning power. What do you call that person? These are one-word substitutes for an entire sentence. So what do you call a person who is of a good understanding knowledge and reasoning power? The options are: you call that person an expert, intellectual, snob, literate. Now, to understand which is the correct answer, let me explain the options one by one. Let's go backward. Option number D, it says literate. Literate means a person who can read and write. That's all. The person may not be smart enough to understand or to make judgments, to reach a logical conclusion. A person who is merely able to read and write is called a literate. Who do you call a snob? Snob is a person who is arrogant, who is rude, who is snobbish. Snob basically means a person who doesn't talk nicely or doesn't behave nicely. So that's what you call a person as a snob. Then you have an expert. I'm going to option A. Expert is a person who knows about one particular area really well, and the person is a master in that area. So that's an expert. So what do you call an intellectual? The question stem says a person with good understanding knowledge and reasoning power. Let's read the question again. A person of good understanding knowledge and reasoning power. A person who understands things very well, who has a lot of knowledge and can reach a conclusion, can reason things out well, can reach a logical conclusion. That person is called as an intellectual. Option B. Moving on to question number 2. List of the business or subjects to be considered at a meeting. So when you go for a meeting, a list of things which you need to discuss: a schedule, a timetable, an agenda, a plan. Now, plan is something you have list of things to do along with the timeline. For example, you want to finish a particular task by which date, by what time. That's a plan. Schedule basically means what task will be done at what point of time for the entire day, for the week. For example, if there is a program happening, who will speak first, who will speak next, what time will they speak, what time will they come on the stage. For example, if you're talking about a training schedule, what is the schedule? 2 to 2:45, 3 to 3:45, then 4 to 4:30 or 4:40. Tomorrow, what is the schedule? That's a schedule. Plan is where I'm putting things to do along with certain timelines. Timetable is nothing but like a routine which happens every day after day, week after week, month after month. Here we are talking about things that will be considered in order to preside over a meeting. If we have a meeting today, we need to know what are we going to discuss, and that is called an agenda. So option C is the correct answer. List of business or subjects to be considered at a meeting. That's an agenda. All right. Question number 3. Leave or remove from a place considered dangerous. For example, if there is a particular place, it's dangerous, and it says please leave or please remove these people. What do you call that process? Option A is evade, option B is evacuate, option C is avoid, option D is exterminate. Now, exterminate means where you remove a person from a group. Evade means where you avoid or where you escape. The better word or better example or better meaning of the word evade, E-V-A-D-E, is to escape. For example, if you're asking a question to someone, that person is trying to escape and not give an answer, like we see that with a lot of politicians, they just move the microphone away and they keep walking, and they are very evasive. That's an adjective. So evade is a verb, evasive is an adjective. For example, if there is a person who there is a case filed against them and they're running, they're just running away from the cops or the court, they say they are evading arrest. Basically, they are trying to escape away from it. So that's the meaning of evade. Avoid means where avoid is a very straightforward word, which means you do not want to indulge in it. That's why you say the word avoid. So the correct option for this particular question is evacuate. Now, evacuate is a verb. Let's have the screen, please. Evacuate is the word, verb. Evacuation is the process, it's a noun. Let's have the screen, please. Evacuation is noun, evacuate is verb. So leave or remove from a place considered dangerous, that is evacuate. Number 4, a person pretending to be somebody he is not. A person pretending to be somebody he is not. What do you call that person? Magician, rogue, liar, imposter. Now, what do you mean by magician? A person who plays tricks, who shows certain magical tricks. For example, I have this phone, I do this and the phone vanishes. So I'm a magician. What do you mean by a rogue? Rogue means a criminal who has done something wrong or who has been doing something wrong. Liar means a person who does not state the truth. So that's a liar. For example, I can just lie that right now I have 50,000 rupees in my pocket and whoever can answer these questions, I'm going to give them money. That's a lie. Imposter is the correct answer. Let's have the screen. A person pretending to be somebody he is not, that person is called an imposter. For example, the businessman was cheated by an imposter who claimed to be an IAS officer. A businessman was cheated by an imposter who claimed to be from excise department. So basically, I say that I'm somebody else, wherein the fact is I'm not that person. So that's called an imposter. All right. Moving on to question number 5. One who possesses many talents. A person with multiple talents. Versatile, nubile, exceptional, gifted. Versatile is the correct answer, where a person has multiple abilities. You may have come across certain singers who can sing any kind of song, and they can also act, they can also dance, and you say he is a very versatile actor or versatile artist. That's because the person has multiple disciplinary talents in them. That's why we use the word versatile. Question number 6. A person interested in collecting, studying and selling old things. A person interested in collecting, studying and selling old things. Option A, antiquarian. Option B, junk dealer. Option C, crank. Option D, archaeologist. Now, archaeologist is a person who studies ancient civilizations. All right. For example, they dig up the land around, say, Charminar or Taj Mahal, and they study how old is a civilization. If they find a statue underground, they will actually give you the details it's 500 years old or 600 years old. So that's an archaeologist. Crank, the word crank, option C, that's a word used in American English. For example, they're called a crank dealer. A crank dealer is a person who buys and sells old stuff. For example, a crank dealer word can be used for a car dealer. He buys car from people who are selling, and second-hand car, basically buy and sell second-hand car, used car. So second-hand is termed as a negative word, so people tend to use a pre-owned car, a pre-owned appliances. For example, in India it's not popular yet. In US it's very popular. If you buy a laptop, it's going to cost you say 45 to 50,000 rupees, but you can get a second-hand one from the company itself. Say for example, Apple makes MacBook Pros. So a new MacBook is going to cost you like 75-80,000 rupees. From Apple itself, you can buy a used MacBook. For example, an old customer of Apple sells his MacBook. Apple takes it, they repair it, they fix it, they also give a 6-month warranty, and they sell it. And that's sold as a refurbished item. So a person who deals with these kind of stuff, buying and selling a pre-owned or a pre-used car or in equipment or something, that's called a crank dealer. What do you mean by junk dealer? The guy who comes to your home and he picks up all the newspapers for 7 or 10 rupees per kg, or plastic bottles or glass bottles, then he goes and sells it to a recycle wholesaler. That's called a junk dealer. Junk basically means something which is not functional anymore and you sell it. That's a junk dealer. The question here is, a person interested in collecting, studying and selling, screen please, I'm reading the question. Screen please. A person interested in collecting, studying and selling old things. When we talk about something very old, when we talk about a person who's studying, basically we are referring to something which is antique in nature, and that person is called an antiquarian. A person who deals with antique artifacts, he buys, sells, studies and collects. Alright. Number 7, a drawing on transparent paper. This must be very easy for you. It's blueprint, red print, negative, transparency. Of course, the correct answer is blueprint. So blueprint is a drawing on transparent paper. Alright. Question number 8. A small shop that sells fashionable clothes, cosmetics, etc. You call it a store, you call it a stall. Stall is temporary in nature. Store, you may refer that as a storeroom or a godown, but in United States, a store is nothing but a shop. Alright. A boutique or a booth. Booth and stalls are same, it's temporary in nature. Boutique is the correct answer. A small shop that sells fashionable clothes, cosmetics, etc. that's called a boutique. Number 9, an object that is used to calculate distance. The options are speedometer, barometer, odometer, thermometer. So what do you mean by speedometer? Speedometer that calculates speed. Barometer that calculates pressure, right? Thermometer calculates heat. Odometer, it's not odometer, it's odometer. Odometer in certain bikes and certain models of bikes, it shows what is the speed. You have a needle. In certain bikes, it's a digital counter where it shows the speed. There is one counter which is numbers, which shows how much distance has been covered overall from the time you started the bike until now. It could be 30,000, 40,000, 3,000, 4,000, whatever. There is another one which is called a trip meter, right, which calculates the distance from one place to another. You can reset that back to 0. For example, if you are going on a drive to a nearby town, you just want to calculate the distance only for that particular journey. That's called a trip meter. Odometer is that number counter which keeps on moving whenever the bike or car is running. It's basically calculating the distance. An object that is used to calculate distance. Number 10, A disease of mind causing an uncontrollable desire to steal. There are a lot of people who are pretty rich, they are pretty well to do, but still they have this problem of stealing stuff. It's a mental disease. What do you call that mental disease? The options are option A, schizophrenia, option B, claustrophobia, option C, kleptomania, option D, megalomania. So option A, schizophrenia. Schizophrenia is basically multiple personality disorder or split personality disorder. There was a movie in Tamil and Telugu and Hindi as well. There is this guy who is a priest in a temple, and he's a very nice guy. Whenever something goes wrong, he just can't do anything because he feels very weak. Suddenly he changes into a very aggressive person with the hair right on his face, and he punishes all those people who are into corruption. He doesn't spare anybody, even the bus conductor, IS officer, police inspector. He pretty much punishes them, and later it turns out that he's just one person, but he has a split personality disorder. That's a schizophrenia. Option B is claustrophobia. Claustrophobia is a kind of a phobia where the person feels suffocated if the person is in a small closed enclosure. Say for example, if the person is traveling in a lift, in an elevator, the person will feel very suffocated, as if something is going to go wrong, they have difficulty breathing. If you make that person stand around a lot of people, they feel very claustrophobic because they find it difficult to breathe, and they actually get an anxiety attack. That's a claustrophobia. Megalomania is basically certain people have this tendency of thinking they are the best and they are bigger than anybody. We have been seeing one of the MP from Shiv Sena, right? He slapped an Air India official, and he thinks he's an MP, so everybody is his servant, his slave. So that's megalomania. The question stem here is a disease of mind causing an uncontrollable desire to steal, and that is called kleptomania. Kleptomania is a disease of mind causing an uncontrollable desire to steal. All right. Question number 11. Here you need to find the similar word, the synonym. The question is hesitated. What is a synonym for hesitated? Stopped, paused, slowed, postponed. If I'm postponing, I'm doing it later. If I'm stopping, if I say stopped, I'm not doing it at all. If I slowed, that means I'm doing that work. Hesitation means, hesitated means before doing the task, he stopped himself, then he did it eventually. So the correct answer here is option B, which is paused, hesitated, paused. Number 12, neutral. Neutral means unbiased, non-aligned, undecided, indifferent. Indifferent is a very different or a negative word here. For example, I am very indifferent to the students because I don't treat them like students. He is very indifferent to his family members. He doesn't treat them right. That is what it means. Undecided means I am not even able to decide what I am supposed to do in a situation. I am left with two options. Option A, unbiased. Option B, non-aligned. Non-aligned means I am not connected with anybody. I am not I'm not associated with anyone. That's non-aligned. Option A is the correct answer, which is unbiased. Bias means showing favoritism towards someone, and the question here is neutral, so option A is the correct answer. 13, feeble. Feeble means weak, vain, arrogant, sick. Sick means unwell, arrogant means rude, vain means where you put an effort, it doesn't really work. Weak is the correct answer. W-E-A-K, weak is the correct answer for feeble. Restraint. Restraint means hindrance, repression, obstacle, restriction. Restraint means restriction, where I restrained a person from entering the room, means I restrict that person. Obstacle is just creating a restraint as an obstacle. Repression means where I do not really encourage a person, or hindrance and obstacle both are same. The correct option here is option number D, which is restriction. All right. Moving on to question number 15, TOIL. Here you need to find the antonym. Earlier one we looked at the synonyms, similar words. Here we are looking at antonym. Antonym means opposite words. Toil means working hard, king of coil, being lazy, being unwell. Toil basically means a person who is working hard, or the hard work is called toil. What is the opposite of hard work? Obviously it's C, being lazy. So C is the correct answer. Question number 16, submissive. What is the opposite of submissive? Aggressive, passive, assertive, obstructive. Submissive means a nature of a person who accepts anything and everything that is told or imposed on him or her. The opposite will be aggressive, where you oppose everything or you go against everything. Either you go against everything or you accept everything. So accepting everything is submissive. The opposite, the antonym, is aggressive. All right. Question number 17. You need to pick the antonym. Choose the word which best expresses the meaning of the word shallow. So I need to change the header here. I'm just changing the alignment so that it's easy for you to see it. All right, question number 17. Choose the word which best expresses the meaning of the word shallow. Now, what do we mean by shallow? Shallow basically something, literally it means something not deep. That means it's something which is superficial. Option C is the correct answer. The word which best describes the meaning of the word shallow is superficial. Choose the word which best expresses the meaning of the word diversion. Diversion means deviation. It's as simple as that. It's pretty simple, right? I'm deviating from the topic. I'm diverting the entire argument. So the opposite of diversion is deviation. Number 19. Let me remove the header again. All right, the question is, choose the word which best expresses the meaning of the word browse. While I'm making the formatting changes, you may want to answer that question. Choose the word which best expresses the meaning of the word browse. Browse means examine or check or heal. What is the correct answer? That will be check. Option C, check. Question number 20. Choose the word which best expresses the meaning of the word candid. Candid means explicit or frank or open. The correct answer is explicit. Candid means explicit. All right. Question number 21. Here you need to pick the opposite word. So you can read this question while I make these cosmetic changes in terms of formatting. All right, choose a word which is exactly opposite of the word crowded. The opposite of crowded is deserted, empty, quiet. Now quiet means very peaceful, there is no noise. Empty is used for objects. Crowded means a place which is full of people. So since the reference is about people, it will be deserted. All right, option A, deserted, is the correct answer. Question number 22. Choose the word which is exactly opposite of the word flimsy. Meaningful, firm, filthy. So here we need to pick the opposite word. So flimsy's opposite word is meaningful. Flimsy means something which does not make any sense at all. So meaningful is the correct answer. Question number 23. Here again you need to pick the opposite words. So question number 23, choose the word which is exactly opposite of the word confess. And I shall quickly make the cosmetic changes, the formatting changes for the question number 24. All right, here we go. Choose the word which is exactly opposite of the word confess. Confess means where you accept your mistake. So the opposite is refuse or deny or contest. The options are deny, refuse, contest, and the correct option is deny. Option A, either you confess or you deny. Refuse means where you refusing to something or accept something. Deny means deny and refuse are depending on the context. Since the word is confess here, deny is the correct option. Choose the word which is exactly opposite of the word flimsy. Flimsy means something which is senseless. So that means the opposite is option A, which is meaningful. All right. So when it comes to vocabulary, the more you read, the better it is. There's one important aspect in terms of vocabulary that you need to know, that is prefix and suffix. This will be the topic for the next program. So whenever you tune in for the next program, this is what I'm going to cover, prefix and suffix. So what do we mean by prefix and suffix? Say for example, we have a list of 5 different words. When we talk about prefix and suffix, there is a root word. The root word will always have a standalone meaning. Let's have the screen, please. The root word, the first one is comfort. The prefix is uncomfortable. So I cannot just use uncomfort, it's uncomfortable. So that able is a suffix, un is a prefix, and the root word is comfort. Second one, we have a root word which is regular. We can add a prefix irregular and may add a suffix irregularly. We have a root word which is organized or organize, I can add a prefix disorganized with a suffix ed. For example, confident is the root word. I can say unconfidently, and we have another word which is respect. I can just use a suffix which is respectfully, or add a prefix disrespectfully, or just say disrespect, which is a verb. So when it comes to prefix and suffix, we have certain rules in terms of the spelling. So one rule is in terms of the spelling, the second rule is in terms of pronunciation. Why should I talk about pronunciation and why should I talk about the spelling? All right, let me give you a quick example. Just a moment. Okay, I hope this slide is visible to all of you. I'm just trying to increase the font size so that this is clearly visible. All right, here we go. So say for example, I have a word which is cup. So if I have to make a plural form, I will say CUPS. I just added the S in the end. But if I have a word box, I can't say BOXS. I need to add an E. So I say boxes and I say cups. So here this word is one syllable. This is also one syllable. Oops, something went wrong with my PPT. My third example, this is one syllable, but when I'm making my second example is cups, box. In the second word, when I make it a plural form, it becomes two syllables. So when it comes to adding a plural form on the second word, one syllable becomes two syllables, and instead of adding just S, I am also adding an E. So when it comes to prefix and suffix, there are certain rules that needs to be followed in terms of spelling, in terms of pronunciation. What are those rules and how to be perfect in terms of prefix and suffix? That's exactly what I'm going to explain in the next session. So please do tune in for the next session, and I'm hoping and assuming that whatever session has been covered so far, you had been learning, you had been going through it, you had been practicing, but I haven't been seeing anybody posting questions. So please do post your questions so that I can take a look and provide you with the answer. All right. So I'll see you guys soon for the next session, prefix and suffix, what we're going to talk about in the next one. Thank you so much.